Good morning, Connor. Today is the 11th of June, and I'm going to ask you a couple of questions in relation to your final evaluation. So, if you compare your final project with your proposal and plan, can you give me a brief description of your proposal and what were your main aims?
So initially my proposal was about 8 entirely different projects. It was about an actual short film that I wanted to make. Now I kind of scrapped that midway through, so I wasn't worth it. Instead, my proposal for the uploaded video was a kind of talking about video games and how different YouTubers have different takes on commentary videos. So there's normal commentary videos, there's things like abridging, which is basically making a new narrative for the game, which is what I did. And I put that down in the presentation I did. And you do a little bit of research on there. You explain really well your difference in audience as well. Yeah, there's like sub-categories of commentary, and there's like narratives ones where they explain the game as well, and narrative and abridged kind of work in like polar opposite ends of the spectrum, whereas the commentary just talks about the game. It's like a review.
Yeah, and there was a third one.
Yes, I believe there was. I can't remember it off the top of my head.
Yeah.
It was a...
Did you achieve what you set out to do?
I did, yes. I made 2 other videos just in case I couldn't upload my initial video, and I ended up finishing the final product anyway, with a voiceover, a little bit of voice acting in there, like, not voice acting, but I scripted a sequence of me talking to myself, and it ended up working really well in the end product. I think, I set out to make a YouTube video, and I think I did pretty well at it.
So, what did you enjoy about your project?
Definitely the editing. The editing was my favourite part. It was the longest part, but it was my favourite part of it. Having to go, because I think I recorded about an hour worth of footage. And so going through it and cutting it down to like 10 minutes, that was...
Did you screen record your footage?
No, I recorded on a app called OBS. It's kind of like screen recording, but it gets rid of all the other stuff, and it lets me record just the game if I really want to.
And how do you edit the recorded stuff you did on this OBS?
It turns it into a video file after you stop recording, and then it just puts it into your computer. So what I did was I put it on Teams in a folder and sent it to myself here, so I could cut it up in Premiere Pro. And then after I had finished cutting it up in Premiere Pro, I uploaded it to YouTube, I downloaded it from my YouTube channel, and did the voiceover on CapCut, as well as adding a few extra images that I needed to add. What did not go well? Because all this sounds that it went really well, very well. And so what would you change in other work that you might do? Yeah. Editing it was difficult editing at college and at home, because I couldn't get onto Premiere Pro at home, which was really holding me back for a good while. So I had to. Why could you
not use Premiere Pro at home?
It just wouldn't let me onto. So I could get onto Adobe.
Yeah.
But Premiere Pro wasn't in my subscription list on the college account, and that set me back like weeks. So I had to look into other editing softwares like DaVinci, CapCut, and I ended up doing it on CapCut for a lot of it, because it's just...
Did you use the free version or the paid version of CapCut?
For this project, I used the free version. And for there's 2 other videos I've uploaded as well, I used the paid version.
Oh, you yeah. So how did you use your research?
What, for like abridging purposes, or?
Yeah. And how research helped you to develop ideas?
So a lot of my research was more looking at other YouTube videos. So I literally just went on YouTube, looked at a bunch of videos by people like Reggie, Martin Pants, Maxor, Russian Badger, those types of people. And Reggie, Maxor and Martin do it the best. They kind of just like flip the narrative and make their own thing above the gameplay. So that kind of helped me grasp an idea of what I wanted to do. And then, so the commentary style I do is quite dead. There are points where it's quite deadpan, and that is very inspired by Reggie and Maxor. And there are other parts where I'm quite emotive and actually talking about the game. That's where I'm more utilising like Russian Badger's kind of aspects of his videos.
I have the feeling that you used and developed a new range of practical creative skills. Is that true?
Yes, I would say so.
Can you name what you developed? How you developed them?
So in a lot of my other projects, I haven't done much. I've obviously.
So what new skills have you developed by making this project?
I think using effects, that was a really big thing in my other two projects, and using image to convey certain like jokes. There's a few jokes I make, or a few references, and I had to pick out certain images and certain like laugh tracks to kind of convey that it was either a joke or a reference. So that was definitely one series. The effects were on other videos, things like transitions and normal like other visual effects. However, in CapCut they're easy to use. They like drag and drop stuff, so it is a little bit like, is this your work? But I'm more using it as a creative outlet, something that I want to do. But
so in what way CapCut was useful and effective for your project? Would you recommend it? As
a beginner software, I'd heavily recommend it. It is incredibly easy to use. A lot of the stuff is like, if you use certain effects are meant to be paid for. It's the same with extracting audio and video. You kind of need to pick and choose where you're doing it, because it's a pro feature, you need to pay for it. Or you can just cut the video and just be equal to it. So that's how I did it. It was easy as that. But it is a little bit like...
What were you missing from Premiere Pro?
Freedom. A lot of the... So when you...
Great thinking.
When you cut in CapCut, it slams the video together. I hate that. I absolutely hate it. I love Premiere because I can pick and choose where the footage goes. In CapCut, I have to finagle around for like half an hour trying to get the footage in the right place. And so much unnecessary effort.
So you've learned a lot throughout this problem-solving thing.
I do, but I do like CapCut. It's easy to use. But when you've gotten used to using Premiere, it's so different.
So basic. Yes. So now we were talking about interests. Have they taken your interest? Have they taken a different direction, you think?
I would say so, yes. I think content creation is a avenue that I do want to explore. Obviously, I do want to make films. Making films is something I've done for a long time. So I would enjoy actually being able to make a film. Like at the start of the project, I wanted to make an actual like short film, but I realised I wouldn't have had the time to do the actual project I envisioned, and it would have been way too cluttered. The two people I wanted in my project were busy at the time I wanted to film, so I had to cut it down. But I think I do like editing short form videos more, like entertaining videos, instead of like fully fledged movies where I've actually got to come up with a decent plot and a decent storyline
and a bigger budget.
Yeah, and a bigger budget and a decent like visuals. Whereas with content creation, I can just record something I enjoy doing, edit it, which is something I still enjoy doing, and then push a video out every couple of weeks.
So that brings me to managing time. Do you think you manage your time effectively?
Awfully.
Awfully.
I did, to be fair, I pushed my first video out in April. So that was, I think, week 8. So if I had actually completed the FMP by then, it would have been so much easier. But I didn't, because I'm slow. And then I pushed another video out in May, and now I've got the second one out in June. The third one. So tight, like the video that is most recent is the one I'm using for my FMP, which is the big issue, because I could have used any of the other 2 videos. I just didn't.
What feedback did you get from other students and tutors?
So when we watched I used a different video. I used the 15-minute video, and some of the feedback I got was it's entertaining, but it makes no sense because I dropped them. Faye wouldn't let us watch the full thing, all 15 minutes, because I don't think anyone in the class wants to hear me yap about a game that they're not interested in for 15 minutes. And so I put them at the final half of the video, like the final 5 minutes. I think Ethan was my scribe. He said it's an entertaining video, but it needs more context. And in fairness, I did drop them bang in the middle, so they had no idea what was going on. And it was the third part of the little mini-series that I've done. So, obviously, without any context, without this video especially, makes no sense.
And
apparently
let's talk about the future.
Yeah.
Future projects. What actions do you need to take forward? Things you need to work on?
Time management, definitely. I had an issue unrelated to the project, but also kind of related to the project. I was editing 2 videos at once when I released my first video, I was editing that at home and the other one here. So it kind of split my attention like in half, and I couldn't kind of focus on one. So I was more focused on the one that I could do at home instead of the one that I should be doing here. That was a big that was definitely.
So if you look back, what would you do differently?
I'd release them in release order.
Okay.
In the way they should have been released instead of I did 2, 3, and then 1.
Yeah.
So that was kind of
the prequel.
Yeah, really. This project is the prequel, and then 2 and 3 are like their own little thing. It's really annoying, but
So okay,
it's talking about the Star Wars
series. So it feels like you're really happy about your project now.
I am, yeah.
And I'm really pleased about this. Really.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun recording it. I did actually think the other day that I could have made something different on a different game and had more of a storyline-esque scenario going on, but I didn't. I'm saving that for my own personal project.
And I'm looking forward to seeing it.
If I were to come back and do this project again, I'd probably do the same thing, honestly. I'd have better time management, but I'd do the same video.
Well, thank you so much, Connor, and good luck for your future.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Connor, I left out a question. So, talking about reflection and self-evaluation throughout the different stages of the project, how has reflection helped you to develop your ideas?
So during obviously the first like when I started editing here, I started editing on the second video first, and that was about, I think, 40 minutes long initially, and I had to cut it down into, I wanted to cut it down to like 10 minutes, but I didn't want to leave anything important out, and so I didn't. I instead cut it down to 20 minutes, and looking on that, it was more, that doesn't need to be here, that doesn't need to be here, and that doesn't need to be here. It was more like, it did feel like it did feel like me just rambling on about nonsense at points. And so with the second video I made, or well, the third in the little series I did, I cut it down into, that's here, good, that can be cut shorter, that can be cut shorter, and this entire section doesn't need to be here, which instead cut it down from about 50 minutes to 15.
And this is good critical evaluation, actually, to move forward the project.
And so in the final edit of the first kind of the prequel, I used all in all about 10 minutes of footage. I looked at it and there were so many things I didn't need to include. I remade my own little intro for the game. I didn't actually I cut a few things. I kept 2 things in from the original intro cutscene. But other than that, I cut about, if the intro was this long, I cut about this. So I cut at least half the intro and made my own so that I could explain what was going on, what the context is for the other videos, and what's going to happen in the future of the game. And it was, a lot of it was, don't cut this, cut this. It was just, for a little bit, I think for the first half it was a bit of a mess. And then when I finally got my footing, it was more looking at it from, instead of like how I used to make films of, oh, but I need this, this and this, I realised it was a short form entertainment video. I can cut out as much as I want and keep as much as I want in.
Well, so you've changed your style of working.
Yeah,
that changed. You're more confident. You're more adaptable, more flexible.
Yeah, instead of like keeping everything in, I don't have to.
You were making your own decisions, and you were being flexible with the process.
Yeah.
Well done. Thank you.